So I officially just finished Dying Light the Beast, and I have to say, it was very fascinating. I'm not going to say good, I'm not going to say bad, because, well, if I say either of those things, you'll know where this review is going, and I don't want you to know where this review is going. Anyways, yeah, I technically didn't just finish the game. I finished the game like 3 weeks ago. There's like a huge reason why I didn't get the review out, like 3 weeks ago, but y'all aren't here to hear about that crap. It's not important to you guys. Anyways, yeah, you probably know the drill. Probably don't. You probably don't know the fucking drill. But the drill is going into the things that I liked and going into the things that I didn't like. Anyways, now that you know the drill, yeah, you know. Anyways, going to the things that I liked about the game. The first couple of things I really liked about the game was the game's graphically really amazing, looked really good, especially considering it was done on its own engine, wasn't done on no Unreal Engine 5, which is most definitely a good thing. We'll get to that a little bit later down the line. So yeah, the game's graphically really amazing, and when it comes to the atmosphere of the game, it's actually a lot better. If you didn't know, Dying Light 1, its atmosphere was a lot more dark and gritty, and that was kind of its thing. And then you go on to the second game, and the second game's atmosphere was just very, like, bright, colorful, not that scary. It felt like it was going after a little bit more of, like, a sandbox, colorful, fun type of thing, if that makes sense. But that's just kind of not what Dying Light was. So the first game's a lot more darker, it's a little bit more gritty. But the second game isn't that at all. Like, it's not even, like, remotely like that. But I can say with absolute confidence, Dying Light the Beast most definitely goes back to how the first game was. It goes back to being that kind of a little bit more darker and grittier and actually scary game. That's what I really, really liked about Dying Light the Beast. It's actually the thing that I liked the most about Dying Light the Beast. And again, it was that the atmosphere was so much more like the first one in that sort of circumstance. It actually felt scary. It was actually really good, and then going on to the third thing I really liked about the game, which is kind of coincide with the other two things, being night times were actually scary again. That's one thing I really hated about the second game was, again, I mentioned this before, but the second game felt a little bit more like an arcade sandboxy type game. And one of its problems was the night times weren't scary at all with the second game. Your heart wouldn't be pumping when you didn't get back to the safe zone in time in the second game. It wasn't that. It felt goofy. It wasn't scary. It wasn't heart pumping. That's one of the things I loved about the first game was, night times were truly scary and they truly they scared the shit out of you. You know what I mean? If you weren't back to that safe zone in time, you were shitting yourself. That's what was so great about the first game. And the second game just didn't have that. So I can tell you with absolute confidence, this third game most definitely does have that. And that's the thing that I loved about this one, was that the night times are actually good, actually scary, and if you're not back to a safe zone in time, you're actually shitting yourself, which is good, and I'm happy those are back. I love it. So yeah, those are the first three things I really liked about the game. I thought I would kind of lump those things in together, because graphically and then atmosphere-wise and then night times, the atmosphere with night times, they all kind of coincide with each other. They're all similar in that sort of way. So yeah, I like that. Then going to the next thing I really liked about the game being that it doesn't reinvent the wheel easily. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just like that it didn't reinvent the wheel. One thing, and again, this was one of the big problems with the second game is, and this is something I actually have to say about the second game, is the second game on its own isn't bad. In all honesty, outside of how the game launched, the second game was actually good. It was just the problem was it wasn't Dying Light. And that was the problem with the second game. I'm going to leave that whole conversation for a whole nother video, but that's one of the things I didn't like about the second game was the problem was it tried to reinvent the wheel too much from the first game, which was really shitty and not that great. And I didn't really like that. And that's one of the things that I really like about Dying Light the Beast is it doesn't try to reinvent the wheel like what the second one did. It is really, really similar, again, when it comes to the three other things that I mentioned before. It's very similar to the first game in that sort of circumstance, so if you really want something that's a lot more like the first Dying Light game, I cannot recommend this one enough. So yeah, one of the things I really liked about it was it doesn't really try to reinvent the wheel like what the second game does, because the second game really, really went off the beaten path. wasn't good in that circumstance, but you know, it is what it is. I think going into the next thing I really liked about the game was I found out, or at least I found that out of the 3 games, I found the side quests in the third game to be the best. Now this isn't really a debate with the second game. The second game didn't have a very good story and didn't have very good side quests. But the first game had really great side quests and a really great story. But I found Dying Light the Beast side quests, even though there weren't as many of them, at least I don't believe there were as many of them, I felt the side quests just were a lot better. And I just preferred them a lot more. They felt a little bit more in-depth. They felt like truly their own mini story. It didn't feel like you were just doing the same pumped out quests. So I really liked the side quests in Dying Light the Beast. And there was actually one quest which was a little bit like of a psychedelic quest. And if you know me, you know that I absolutely despise those sorts of like psychedelic, like trippy quests. I really hate those sorts of quests in games. Like, I've played every single Far Cry game. I actually love all the Far Cry games. They're one of my favorite game franchises of all time. But one common trend with the Far Cry games there's always like psychedelic missions and psychedelic quests. Those like trippy fucking quests. And I've always hated them every single time, even in other games that aren't the Far Cry franchise. I just hate psychedelic quests. Again, if you know me, you know that I hate those trippy psychedelic quests. I hate them. They fucking suck. But one thing about Dying Light the Beast is it actually has a psychedelic quest, and it's like a little trippy, but I actually liked it. I thought it was good. It was very enjoyable. So that's why I have to say with absolute confidence, at least for me, the side quests of Dying Light the Beast is easily better than the first game. So yeah, again, I'm really, really surprised Dying Light the Beast actually had a psychedelic mission that I really actually liked. So yeah. Side quests, best out of the 3 games. Then going to the next thing being the game doesn't run on Unreal Engine 5. It actually runs on its own engine. I know this is kind of a weird thing to add into like the things that I liked, but I'm really sick of Unreal Engine 5. There are so many of these like cheap, shitty developers switching to Unreal Engine 5 and then having these games that perform really just perform like shit and they look like shit and all that stuff. Like, I'm literally specifically talking about Borderlands 4. That game literally runs like fucking shit. Even after they've updated it and stuff, the game still runs badly. I don't like it. And I entirely blame Unreal Engine 5, by the way. Unreal Engine 5 has been a very, very like bad engine over the past 2 years or so. It's been a very unreliable engine, and it's just not good. I don't like Unreal Engine 5. So I really like that Dying Light the Beast truly does run on its own engine. I think that's awesome. I love that so much. You know, I love the developers actually went out and actually developed the game on its own engine and didn't just take the cheap route and go with Unreal Engine 5. Love that they made that decision. Thank you, Techland, for running the game for developing the game on its own engine. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. Then going to the next thing that I really like about the game, and this is kind of a weird thing to add again, but I really like the crossbows. I don't know why. The bows in this game felt a lot better than they did in the first game. The first game, I'm pretty sure the first game had bows. Did the first game have bows? Why do I not know if the first game had bows? You know, whatever. Crossbows were really great. You know, I don't know why I said the game. Yeah, I don't know. I have a note here that literally says bows in the bows in the third game are better than they are in the first game, but I generally forgot if bows are in this first game. I literally can't remember, and I don't know why. I got the memory of a goldfish, I swear to God, even though goldfish don't really have that bad of memories. You know, not important. You know, yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I really like the crossbows in the game, apparently, according to the notes right here. So yeah, I must have liked them. Yeah, you know, doesn't matter. And was going to the next thing I really liked about the game. Actually, this isn't really a thing that I didn't like about the game, but it's just a note that I have. I don't know why this is in the things that I liked. It should be on the notes section, you know, whatever. But the one thing that was really weird about the game was that there are things in the story that like shouldn't work, but they just do. And it's a little bit hard for me to elaborate beyond that point, mostly because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't played the game yet. And also because, again, I played the game like 3 fucking weeks ago. So it's been a little while. But yeah, there was a couple things in the game which just, they shouldn't have worked, and they never work in any other in any other game or any other franchise, but somehow work in this game. I don't know how, they just do, at least from what I remember. So yeah, it's weird. And then going on to the final thing I really liked about the game was that the story was really good. But then there's another note that I have, and it literally says not as good as the first one though. So I read it like not important. Jeez. Yeah. So clearly, according to my notes, I preferred the story of the first game. Apparently, this review's a little out of touch so far because, again, it's been a little while since I've actually played the game itself. So a little. But it is what it is. So yeah, apparently the story's not as good as the first game. And before you go, but you only played the game 3 weeks ago. How can you not remember the story? I'm a little slow. That's something you need to know about me. I'm a very slow individual. So that's the exact reason why I don't remember. But I do remember the ending though. And I actually really liked the ending. It was surprisingly good. And it actually ends on a cliffhanger, which, yeah. I'm up for that one. I'm always up for more Dying Light. If you know me, you know that I fucking love Dying Light. So yeah, this third game being like kind of a back to form type of game, I loved that it was more like the first one. I love everything about it. It was great. It was fantastic. I had a lot of fun with that. And then going to the things I didn't like. And I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. There's one thing I didn't like about this game. Yeah. And it was just those fucking time trials. I really fucking hate time trials. This is another thing you need to know about me. If you know me, you know that I fucking despise time trials. They are single-handedly the worst thing to ever happen in gaming. I hate time trials. The one type of time trial I never hated, which actually thanks to the Dying Light franchise for this one, is the Dying Light parkour time trials. I loved those time trials, you know what I mean? Those parkour time trials in the second game was one of the things I actually really loved about the second game. So I loved the parkour time trials. They were fucking amazing. So this third one not having any parkour time trials is largely disappointing. At least I'm pretty sure it didn't have any parkour time trials. It's possible maybe I missed it. Maybe it did have parkour time trials and I did miss it. If it does, I really actually want to know. So if you have played the game and you're just watching this review as like a third person perspective or something like that, please tell me if there was time trials. If there is, I'm literally going to reinstall the game and go and do it because I love the parkour time trials. Parkour time trials in the Dying Light games, fucking amazing. That was the one thing I loved about the second game. So yeah, disappointing there was no like parkour time trials, but it is what it is, at least as far as I saw, at least as far as I can remember too. So yeah, I don't like most time trials, but the parkour time trials are it. I love those. So yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like about the game. Yeah, so going on to it, if you're a Dying Light fan and you love the first Dying Light game, this game, Dying Light 3 or Dying Light the Beast, is easily a 9.5, like without a shadow of doubt. If you love the Dying Light franchise, especially love the first one, easy 9.5. But if you're not really that big of a fan of the Dying Light games, I'd probably have to say it's an 8. Probably 8, maybe 7.5. It's somewhere around there. So yeah. If you're not a fan of the Dying Light franchise, easily a 7.5 to maybe an 8. But if you are and you love the first game, easily a 9.5. And if you're a super mega fan of the second game, I can tell you with absolute fucking confidence that you're probably gonna hate this one. So this is probably gonna be like a fucking 2 for you. Because I don't know who the fuck's a mega fan of the second game, but I'm sure they exist. And I'm not judging. If you love the second game, I got no problem with that. You can love whatever you want. I'm just telling you, you're stupid. So that kind of is judging. But, it is what it is. Not important. Doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm going to quit yapping. I'm going to go. Want to know, was my review good? Was it shit? I'm pretty sure it was shit. But, it is what it is. I'm just doing what I do. I had a little thing for the end of this, but I completely forgot what it was going to be. It was in my head like 14 minutes ago, and now it's not. So yeah, that's what happens when you try to like go off the top of your head, pretty much. So yeah, anyways, again, I'm going to go. If you like the video, maybe consider liking. If you love the video, maybe consider subbing. And if you really, really, really like the video, I was going to say send me a dick pic, but don't do that. And secondly, yeah, YouTube don't age restrict this video. I don't mean that. Don't send me a dick pic. I fucking mean it. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna go. All good. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah, bye.